but we very nearly got badly burned. I'll show you one in a minute. But that said, well chuffed, well chuffed. Do take your life in your hands if you try and take a corner too fast. So Chris is going 2 for 2 today. He's back with us, and look at this. He's rewired some of the rear fuse box there. And we've got a working hood. That's ace, mate. That is brilliant. So yeah, just been rewiring all of that fuse box back there, haven't you?
Yes.
Legend. So we think the motor's gone in that window though, don't we? Because that keeps tripping it if we try and do that.
I've got him sorted as well now.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
That's due to me. So it wasn't... I was off to go and buy a motor. That was okay then.
This one here.
Brilliant.
Slightly sticky switches.
Yeah, I've actually refurbed one of those blocks before actually.
We've got no driver's window.
No?
There could be a motor issue there.
Oh, one we didn't expect. Well, I'll tell you what though, I'll take the hood though. I'll take the hood.
See it up, work?
Oh, he's a little bit slow, isn't he? I don't suppose that fluid's brilliant, is it?
No, your fluid change might be sufficient.
And actually, I guess we're still off the battery actually, because at the moment, thinking about it, the engine's not running. I've just got it off. I've got the battery there because the new battery ran out of juice from us playing around, so I've only got it plugged into a battery that had a bit of power in it. So actually, that's probably more of a power issue, I think, isn't it?
It does sound a little dry on the pump.
Yeah, some fresh fluid, you think? Yeah, we'll check that out. Check the fluid out, and also, like I say, get it fully charged as well. Double check that. But ace, making some progress. Well, Chris is making some progress. I've been fanning around ordering new toys. So as you know, like every dealer, I'm always on the lookout for more stock. Massive thanks to all of you that email me. I'll message me on Instagram with offers of your vehicles. Really can't appreciate it enough. I know all the deals don't come off normally due to distance. That can add 400 or 500 quid to the costs of getting the car. But every time you guys message me and offer me a car, it is always appreciated, even if we can't come to a deal. Just the fact that you thought about me and gave me the opportunity. So yeah, obviously, if you do want to be doing that, if you go onto the website, you'll find my email address, or like I say, you can find me on Instagram. Now, one occasion of that is, you know, I do a lot of dealings with Mad Mike up in Wales. He's always looking for the very cheap stuff. I'm always looking for the sort of mid-range. I mean, Mike likes to do stuff under 2K. I like to do stuff 3 to 5, 6K. So he's always looking out for stock for me, because then he can drive it down, pick up my stuff, and we both don't incur any transport fees. Well, he just scored me an automatic Fiesta, which, as we know at the moment, it's only 1.4. Small CC petrol automatics are like the holy grail of the industry. But we very nearly got badly burned. I'll show you one in a minute. So Mike, I forget if he'd been contacted or he found the car. He hopped off to go and look at it and had a look around the car, and the car looked great. It's just had an MOT. The only advisory is for a tyre. It doesn't have any history for belts, so we're going to have to get the cam belt done on it. But just for Mike, fair play to him. At the last minute, he said, James, I tell you what, I haven't HPI'd it. Do you want to run it through Car Vertical? And at this point, we found something pretty sketchy going on. So for those of you that seem to think that I would make stuff like this up, here's the WhatsApp conversation with Mike. He's sending me pictures of the Auto Fiesta, showing me the little bit damage on the front. There's a cracked bumper there. 88,000 miles, service history, what is it worth? So I've given him the trade prices here, and then he's got, have you HPI'd the Fiesta? She's been looking for the V5, give me a call. So I just said I was picking my daughter. So I ran it through Car Vertical, and bang, right off. I'll have a look on the screen, it'll be easier for you to see on the screen here. So we hadn't been told the car was cat at all, and obviously when I was putting the bids forward to Mike as to what I'd be prepared to pay for it, it was based on it being a non-cat car. And I was prepared to pay well for it because, obviously, small autos, that you can sell them for more than Auto Trader says at the moment. Whatever Auto Trader says, stick 500 quid on it all day long if it's a small CC auto. But you can see, yeah, came back as accidents. And if we scroll down, not only has it been written off once, it's actually been written off twice. Oh, hold on. I'd be very highly likely to recommend you. It's been written off on the 1st, 2020, and then the 11th, 2020. So there's 2 write-offs, both Cat N on the vehicle. So that obviously has quite a big impact on the value of the car. The customer, the person hadn't told us. Now, I don't know exactly how long they'd had the vehicle. When Mike questioned them, they said, "Oh, well, my brother bought it for me, and he probably didn't do the checks before he bought it me, and I've only had it for a year or so." So we'll take their word on it for that. But obviously, as I say to you all the time, people that are selling cars privately, they don't have to declare if the car has previously been in an accident, whether it's been written off or not. As a dealer, we do at point of sale. So I will have to list this car as a Cat N, and I'll be knocking about 25% off it. So we went back to the person and said, you know, based on this is what the price is. And they said, well, we can't do it for that price. And it's like I said to Mike, well, their choice was to either put an advert out to say it's Cat, and they're going to get a lot less for it, or not to say it's Cat, and then potentially have somebody knocking on their door, which I think the lady was a bit older. She was giving up driving. That's the last thing you want, is someone turning up on your doorstep going, you didn't tell me the car was category write-off. So yeah, so we put a bid in based on it being Cat. We've agreed it. Mike's going to get the cam belt done for me before it comes down here, because he can get it cheaper for me than I can, and because he's got a tame mechanic that works for peanuts. And then he's going to bring it down to me, and he's going to take away the Volvo with a bad gearbox which he bought from me. But yeah, it's got a crack on the bumper that needs sorting out. Like I say, it's got a new MOT on it, and only advisory is for the for a tyre. And it seems a very clean and tidy car. Other than that, Mike's obviously driven it. We need to wet clean the seats, that kind of thing. But like I say, if we have a quick look at what Auto Trader values it at, we'll see what we think it's going to be as a Cat car. Of course, don't forget, be doing these checks before you go and look at cars. Even if someone tells you it's already been HPI'd. Always, there's a link in the description down below, because if you use my code in the shopping cart, you'll get a discount on your Car Vertical. Obviously, massive thanks to Car Vertical for saving my butt again from making a mistake, because I guess Mike assumed that I was going to check it, and I assumed he was going to check it, but luckily he sent that message, and I could have made I think we'll have a look at Auto Trader, but I think I could have made £1,000 error. So here we go. Auto Trader is valuing the automatic Fiesta with that mileage at 4,850. Now remember, Auto Trader does not adjust for it being a Cat car. So it is literally putting the price based on it being a non-Cat car. Now, like I say, you can go over on Auto Trader. There's no way I'd advertise that for less than 4,995, just short of £5,000 normally. Now, being that it's a Cat car, I'm probably going to go about being an auto again and being Cat N rather than Cat S. I think I'm gonna go about 20% lower, so knock about £1,000 off it. Probably start at 3,995, maybe 3,795 sale price. But as I said, had I paid full price for it, it probably would have cost me about £1,000. I'd have had about £1,000 loss due to that mistake. I was only messing about doing nothing while Chris was doing that. I've been fitting the wheels back to the VW up, giving them a clean down, and in the process of also cleaning down the Micra after the machine polished the headlights and stuff like that. So I'm just using the polisher now to cut back those areas where I blended the paint, which was about there, I think. I blended the lacquer, sorry, not the paint. And the lacquer blend was down here somewhere. So obviously the fact that I can't tell you where it was is a good sign. And obviously this is where we got the graduation of the darker paint from Marlowe's into the original paint, which doesn't look as bad when you look at it like this. Again, it's not so obvious, so we just got to blend the other end in on the end of the bumper. But I'll knock the whole thing back with the polish as well, because I don't want too high a shine on that compared to all the other panels. So I'll knock it a little bit back with the polishers and the compound as well. It's actually shinier if you just leave it without polishing it, but again, it'll stand out a bit more like a sore thumb as well. But again, for the value of the car, I think that's perfectly acceptable. Well, I just touched in the scuffs on the micro wheels. I managed to make a mix out of Toyota Silver and Chrysler gunmetal grey to get fairly close. You can see at a passing glance it's not massively obvious, at least not in real life, might be on camera, but like I said, I wasn't going to go for a full refurb on them. Now I'm giving the outside of the car a waterless wax. I've done around the back here, done over the roof. This is going to be a really smart looking little car when it's done. Bonnet and front window, so doing the sides now. There's some sun cream handprints in there, which I might try and buff out, but as a general rule they don't buff out, they get really deep inside. And then we've got to outroll the plastics, make them pop, give a bit of tyre shine, and then it'll be a case of tackling the inside. But like I said, this, looking at it now, it's going to look like a really smart little car, especially for the money. So Chris is going 2 for 2 today and has managed to actually bleed the clutch system, and he has got some, if you work the old pedal there, mate, we've got movement of the slave. I've been able to pull out the cable that I left in there. That wasn't the mistake I did last time, by the way. You're supposed to leave that until the last minute. The mistake was not putting the release bearing in. So we've got clutch pressure, and you've got a good feeling on the pedal, or you've got some feeling on the pedal. Do you want to actually see if it'll move forwards and backwards then? Are you brave enough to do that? Now we haven't got a portion here. I should probably take the cables off when if it does start. Oh, you'll probably find if you've done the immobiliser or not, it's got that little tab on the little black tab. You need to push it into that hole, and that should do it for you. It makes a beat to it. Battery's a bit dead, isn't it? Oh, that'll be why all the turbo pipes are off, and I've stuffed them with cloths, so that'll probably be why it doesn't want to turn over. Hold on a second, let's see. Yeah, that might help you a bit. Try that. Although I should probably reconnect all the turbo pipes. Clearly doesn't like having all that off, does it? There might be some vacuum pipes off here that I've knocked as I've been working as well, which we need to double check. So yeah, I might leave that for this time. I'll put everything back together, guys, and we'll have another go. So 900 convertible. Put some fresh fuel in. I've only put one of the cans in so far. I'll put the second one in once I've found it's got no leaks and anything like that. Both cans have got quite a high concentrate of injector cleaner in them as well, so that we can get it going through the system and clean it up. Put the cover back in. That's a game. Over the clutch there, put all the turbo pipe work back on. I've got one here left, which I don't know where it goes. We'll try starting with that off, and then I'll try and find a home for it. It seems to come over here. It looks like it would want to possibly connect over here. That's a bleed valve. I don't think it's anything to do with, that's just water, so it's nothing to do with vacuum. That looks like a vacuum hose. I'm sure it's staring me in the face, but we'll have a go with that off. So what I want to test is, oh, the battery's been on charge as well, is will it start now, and can we get the hood to go up and down, and most importantly, can we get the car to move forward and backwards? So there we have it, guys. A working roof and moves back and forth. We've got a flat tyre I need to do up, and then I want to take it for a spin around the car park a bit, see what the brakes and that are like. So we'll get the taxi out of the way. Obviously we need to get in for an MOT, get it down and have a look at what, like I say, all the brakes and the brake pipes and all that kind of thing are like. We need to do a service on it. But initially, just want to sort of move it around the car park a little bit and see what's what. Find out what's happening with the coolant, all that kind of stuff. But massive thanks to Chris. What a legend. What a legend. I'll put a link to his Facebook page down below. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. As we've experienced him before, he's ace. Having that support of these various different mechanics, obviously the Moores guys and the Motorworks guys, and obviously my paint guys like Malk and stuff like that, it just makes this job so much easier. You need a good black book of people to help out. But yeah, I can't believe 2 for 2 he got that sorted super quickly. So yeah, there's still going to be a raft of other things to find on this, but that's a big step forwards. Right then, first test drive will set you up outside in the expectation it's going to be all right. Let's put you out here. Suspension seems good, no knocks and bangs from it at all. Brakes, they're actually decent. I've driven worse cars that have been on the road recently. Yeah, I reckon a bit more running around and they'll be absolutely fine, to be honest. Obviously they need bleeding and new fluid, and we need to check whether the pipes are rotten at all or not. But seems to be okay. Temperature hasn't shot up anywhere. I don't think I'm tempted to try the turbo just yet because we haven't got fresh oil in it. I just want to get everything working round the car and see what the score is. Right, I'll take you around with me. Initial signs are that, put you up on a dash, that the brakes are actually not bad, which is very surprising. I can hear air releasing from the engine, which indicates that that pipe does need to live somewhere. But I can change through the gears. But we'll have to let it run a while longer before we find out. But I don't actually want to let it idle too long with this old oil in it, so I think next thing is a fluids change. But yeah, running and driving, guys. There's some people who just put it up for sale as it is now, as a runner driver project. But I think we want to get it MOT'd. I promised the lady that had it that she was going to get to drive it. She was going to get the first drive on the road. So now's where the big work starts. So as I said, now is where the big work starts, because we've got it running and driving. Now the reason most people sell them on at this point is they know from this point forwards is when it gets expensive. Because we now need to get this thing through an MOT. We need to find out, is it holding coolant? Which we'll investigate when it's cooled down a little bit. We need to find out, do we need to replace all the brake lines? We've also got to do the service. Yeah. What's the exhaust system like underneath? All that kind of good stuff. But that said, well chuffed. Well chuffed. It was an experience putting that clutch in, but it's something I wanted to experience. Because I do, as I said before, I do like to get my hands dirty. I'm running a car business, sales business. You can see with the volume of cars here, it's just not feasible for me to do it all and sell a volume of cars every month. But every now and then I want to pick particular cars, get my hands in and get it done, especially this older, simpler stuff. But again, massive thanks to Chris. Absolutely brilliant. Right, did not deceive you in the last video. I have in fact bought myself a London taxi cab. This is a TX4 London taxi cab. It replaced the TX2, the older shape one. They jumped to 4 because this was Euro 4 compliance. They wanted to tie in the name with it, apparently. Useless fact. Now you might say this is, a completely inappropriate replacement for the Porsche 911, but this is in fact a rear wheel drive. It's front engined, rear wheel drive, so it effectively is a sports car, isn't it? Of course, it's a long way off that. It's 101 brake horsepower from the 2.5 diesel engine. I think the earlier ones had a Nissan one. This is a Vittori or something. In fact, the same manufacturers of the engine that went in the Maserati. So in fact, it actually is a sports car, isn't it? So yeah, 101 horsepower, but 240 Newton meters of torque at just, I think it's 1700 RPM. So all the torque, as with most diesels, is really low down. It is actually a metal body on these, not fiberglass. But they have like a ladder chassis and then the body on top. So it's one of the few cars that actually has a separate body to the chassis. Old school, like an American muscle car. Just like an old school muscle car, it's massive and really slow. 0 to 60 is about 17 seconds, I think. And I wouldn't want to think what the top speed is. I mean, I've had it to 60 mile an hour and I really wouldn't want to go any faster than that. Especially as it's knocking on nearly 2,000 kilograms in weight. So again, how did I come about this? I was on the Trade to Trade site and it popped up. A gentleman there buys cars for movies and series. I will find in a bit, I'll interject, maybe I'll put it in text underneath, the series and movies this car may or may not have been in. He's got 2 and he couldn't remember which had been in which, so, and I can't be able to watch all the movies to find out. Maybe somebody else wants to, but yeah, I'll put them down in the description. Well, no, I'll put them in the video as text along there. So yeah, he had his use out of them and just wanted to shift them on. The other was higher mileage. It was tattier. It needed an MOT. This had an MOT, I think, through till September. It's a really clean and tidy one. Unfortunately, not particularly clean today because I've been driving it around quite a bit. It's really clean and tidy. It's got invoices and receipts in it for the belts being done fairly recently, for a gearbox overhaul, the transmission servicing, automatic transmission. It is automatic. I think all the UK ones were automatic. I think there's petrol ones, but I don't think they're ever in the UK. So as I said, bodywork wise, like I say, it's filthy at the moment, but it's free of rust. There's really none at all on it. It's in really good condition. This would actually buff up really, really well. There's no, for once, unlike a lot of my cheaper stuff, there's no bodywork to do on it at all. I don't know if the wheel trim was missing or whether that came off when I went for a bit of a flood area the other day at speed and hit a pothole. The other receipt was for recent tyres all the way around, and they're like pretty much brand new. Easy to check because you can turn the wheel nearly 90 degrees, so the tyres are pretty much brand new. So really long MOT, really good bodywork, new tyres, cam belt service, automatic gearbox service. It had a lot going for it. And these aren't expensive either, are they? Inside is really tidy as well. You obviously expect stains and marks and all that kind of stuff, but the seats are in really good condition. In fact, the wet clean, apart from a little bit of fading of the yellow here, they come up like new. Obviously you've got the pop-out ones, they're pretty much, all the fabric on them's like new as well. Carpet's all really good. It's still got all of its original fittings. It's got the speaker in the back, which my daughter confirms does work when I'm chatting away to her after we had our little test drive together. It's all set up as a proper taxi to the extent that the little orange light works as well. I think maybe I should get it changed out to chops. Driver's seat shows very little wear at all in excellent condition. And we've still got, like I said, all the original knobs and switches for everything. We're going to hop in because there's a lot of noise around here at the moment. I have to admit, I still don't know what everything in here does. This is the biggest problem I found with the vehicle so far. With the seat in its lowest position, I have to force my leg under the steering wheel. So I don't know some of those bigger cabbies I've seen, how they fit in here without problems. Loads of paperwork, like I said, loads of receipts for various different stuff. Don't know how many owners it's had. Let's have a quick look. 4 former keepers, so nothing outrageous. Like I say, we've got all the lights to control for the out the back there. Lights for the rear. Don't know what that does. Don't know what any of these do, or they're electric windows. Don't know what that's for. None of it. Obviously this is completely cleared out in here. I tell you what, I wish I had my old dog with me. My old boy. He was a big dog. He'd have fitted in there lovely. We'd have had a little chat as we drove along. Would have been ace. I love the fake walnut here on the steering wheel. Again, the steering wheel is actually in really good condition. I don't know if any of the stuff's been replaced, because if we get the keys in, we'll have a look at the mileage. Guess it's down below now as to how many times to the moon and back it's been. It's got an old school key on it. I have found a remote fob in the pocket which I'll have a play with, but I need to get a second key done because this one does seem to be a little sticky in there. The only thing I've done so far is put new wiper blades on because they were squeaking like a blighter. So yes, we do have a working stereo system. So the mileage is 237,856. So pat yourself on the back if you're close to that. In terms of one of these, that's actually low mileage. I mean, 2007, where are we now? It's not actually that horrendous a mileage. I've seen these with 400,000 on. So yeah, condition-wise, I mean, if this is all a genuine original equipment for 237,000 miles, I think that's pretty brilliant, to be fair. It's very... This hasn't worn at all. Like the automatic box, the handbrake, all that good stuff. Doesn't seem to have worn at all. She starts up on the button. Never had a problem with it. I don't think there's even a glow plug on these. You just hit the start and there you go. She's away. Nice little thrum. The seat is really quite comfortable. Once I got my leg in underneath that steering wheel, the seat is actually quite comfortable. And all we've got in here is we've got the fuel gauge and we've got the temperature gauge. Temperature wise, she's kind of sits just under halfway, doesn't go above that. She got a little bit higher when I was hooning around at sort of 60 mile an hour, which she doesn't like. It likes to sit at between 40 and 50. But I can't knock it, to be honest. Of all the cars I've bought of this kind of age that end up needing loads of work, this is actually one of the better ones. We'll have a little look under the bonnet. I forgot to mention the company that makes them is the London Taxi Company. And these later ones had these grills, these bigger grills on the front, which I really quite like that. It's almost Bentley-esque, isn't it? Right, let's find where the latch is. So as I said, little 4-cylinder 2.5. Everything's really accessible, which I guess you want it to be because you want maintenance to be easy. You've got your injectors along the top there, nice and easy to get to. I guess this comes off. Would allow you access to the back one a bit easier. You've got your transmission fluid dipstick there. Your oil dipstick. Coolant level right at the top, that's bang on where it should be. Everything's very dry in here, again, for the kind of mileage we're talking about. The radiator looks brand new, or at least very new. The alternator looks very new. And that's the nice thing about these, I guess, is if they have been in service, they have to be reliable, don't they? So they have to look after them. So yeah, air filters up here. Easy servicing by the looks of it. We should have a quick sit in the back, shouldn't we? Again, I have to say, when I looked at this, I thought, who would this be good for a different purpose? Dog walker, I thought. You know, I say you could have a dog up the front and next to you, but dogs can walk straight in here and sit down here without having to climb up into the boot or anything like that. Got some seats here for someone to hold on to them while you're driving around. It'd actually make quite a good dog walker's vehicle, wouldn't it? And then you could brand it all up and market yourself at the same time. Put it all through the business, of course. Now, my other thought is, I've had another thought, so you're going to have to vote down below what you think I should do with it. So choices are, just leave it, polish it up, make it look really good, put it up for sale as just a novelty vehicle for someone. Everything has to be up for sale. I wouldn't be that sad if it didn't go. Number two, like I say, picture it as a branded sort of remarket as some kind of business vehicle. Now, my other thought is, if you look down there, obviously you've got the footwell there. Take this bulkhead right the way out and then fit bunk beds all the way down this side, fit bunk beds. I don't know if you'd have to move this out of the way or whether you could use that as like the headrest bit, and then the rest of your body's out there. And maybe try and fit a pop-up roof to give yourself a bit more clearance. And then what you'd have is with the beds this side, if they're in such a way that you could sit in them, you know, have the top one so it folds down flat against the back, then that could be the back of almost like your sofa, because you could sit here, and then you'll have the room along here with the seats out to have yourself a little cooker, a little fridge, and then you'll have a still bit of room here to sort of get yourself changed and get in. You know, you could make the whole floor into one double bed, but that would mean getting in and out of the car to get into bed, whereas if there's bunks running across there, you could then have this area with that seat out to kind of get yourself ready and organise yourself. And if you get a captain's seat with that bulkhead, get a captain's seat in there that spins round, it'd be a really cool little micro camper. Like I said, there's some generic pop-up roofs you could put in there as well, which would allow you to get the top bunk closest to the roof line, give someone a bit more room to get in. And then again, I could either sell it like that or actually just keep it here and rent it out. People could come down, park their car up here, pick up the taxi, the micro camper taxi, and then go off down the coastline, down through Devon, down through Cornwall, come back up again. You know, something like 200, 250 quid for a weekend, 500 quid for a week. You'd earn its money that way, wouldn't it? So comment down below, what do you think? Oh, before everybody gets on it, yes, the road tax is horrendous on it. That's what I will say. The road tax is £600 a year on this. But as always, I always say, road tax is road tax. If you want cheap road tax, you can't buy this. You go and buy a Citroen C1. I think the thing with this is you wouldn't keep it on the road all the time. If it was your own, would you? I don't suppose you'd use it daily unless it was your marketing vehicle, in which case an extra £25, £30 a month on road tax versus a normal car would be easily justifiable, wouldn't it? If it's your toy, you'd probably just put it on a DD and then stop and start it as and when you wanted to, wouldn't you? Only have it like taxed for 6 months of the year or something like that. But yeah, well impressed with the condition of it. Well impressed with the drive of it. It's a really enjoyable drive. And I would, you know, I wouldn't embarrass the hell out of my daughter. I probably would drive it every day. Anyway, let's go for a quick spin. Oh, before I do, some of you are probably thinking values wise, what this is one of those types of vehicles where the values range massively. There's some total sheds there with monumental miles on them. No MOTs you can pick up for £1,000. There's some really good ones that are, you know, I've seen some for £5 grand. I think the value of this one probably, as it stands now with the MOT it's got, just replace the wheel trim on it, give it a clean up. It's got the MOT on it, it's already got the good service history on it. I think 3,495, something like that. I think it's worth 3,495. In the current market, 3,495 only buys you a diesel 2007 car anyway, doesn't it? Still got all the lights on it, still got the ticker tape in it. Brilliant. Anyway, let's go for a little drive. Comment down below, what do you think it's worth and what do you think you'd pay for it if you were in the market for a taxi, which I don't suppose a lot of you are. So I apologise for the camera angle. There's only one place I can find to put the camera on it, but we're out in a taxi cab. In fact, I drove the taxi cab to pick up my daughter from work experience last night, which she absolutely loved, and driving it back in this morning. I have to say, not missed a beat. It's absolutely bang on. Suspension's good, brakes are good, engine's good. It doesn't like to be shuffled along. It's kind of happy at about 45-50 mile an hour max, but in terms of the mechanics of it, it's absolutely bang on. The guy said it was a good one. When I started looking into it, there's a raft of cheapy ones out there, but they're all, you know, bad. They're rusty, they haven't got MOTs, they've got more miles, they don't drive well. He told me this was a good one, and I have to say he was absolutely right, because this thing is pucker. The temperature stayed where it should, no warning lights of any kind. It creaks and rattles like taxi cabs do, there's no avoiding that. But no, I mean, where's this guy going? No indications, anything like that. As a taxi cab driver, I should now hurl abuse at him, but I won't. Yeah, the only thing we've got is really squeaky windscreen wipers. So I'm going to nip down the moors, boys, and see if we can get some new wiper blades on it. But it's a lot of fun to drive. Obviously you don't see them down here in Devon. Black cabs do not exist in Devon, so I'm getting lots of smiles. Some people will even turn around and looking back as you drive by. More so than some of the sports cars I've had. I haven't had any waves from any other taxi drivers or anything like that. But no, it's entirely usable daily as a car. Like I say, I wouldn't want to, you know, you don't want to go trying to hoon around the back lanes in it. But just pottering along, it's cracking. Take this corner down here with a little bit of gusto and I'll show you what I mean about the handling side of things. Do take your life in your hands if you try and take a corner too fast. Here we go. I've tricked you now, I haven't gone that fast around it to be fair. Let's do a tighter one. It's not so bad, I guess. Not so bad. But you certainly have to take a brave pill if you want to hustle it along a road. We're only doing 40 miles an hour.